platforms.
Cool.
Mark, you want to do the intro?
Hello, welcome to Horror Movies and Shit with me, Mark, and as always,
Jim.
And Jim, who do we have with us today?
We have a legend, if you ask me. We have actor and director Joe Fria. Hey, Joe.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Not only that, actor, director, writer, editor, voice narrator, sound design, best boy, gaffer. I don't know. I think, Joe, you've got such a, if you look at your IMDb page, just so many credits. You've done so many things. So it's awesome that you're here.
We forgot narrator.
Mm-hmm. Yes, narrator. Yes, narrator.
You are the voice of the Goosebumps Slappy World books, are you not?
I am actually the probably the greatest audiobook narration job you could ever get, because anybody who knows about audiobook narration, you usually have to narrate the entire book, which is very challenging. But as Slappy, I would just come in and do sort of the beginning and the end and a couple little like interstitials. So it was like the most cush audiobook job ever.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm please do the voice just once.
Welcome to my world. Yes, it's Slappy's world. You're just living in it.
That's pretty great. I'm not gonna lie. I was never a Goosebumps guy. It was in the 90s, and I was in high school, and it was just. I was a bit arrogant at that point, reading Dostoevsky and stupid shit like that.
Oh, fuck off, Jim.
I was. I'm not lying.
Bullshit.
I did. The Metamorphosis is one of my favorite books.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I was not into Goosebumps at all. I really knew nothing about it until it just. I had signed up for this audiobook company. I was a poor actor, like looking for work, and I had a friend that worked for an audiobook company, and I went in and I did, these little test reads, and they put you on a database, and this audition came through, and I read it, and I was like, wow, this is really like, this is more like a VO audition instead of like an audiobook audition, like some sort of animation thing, the breakdown of it. And so I sort of looked into it, and I realized, oh, this is like that dummy character from those books and those I think at that time the initial Goosebumps movie had come out. I can't remember, but in any case, my ex-wife's father he had his own like backyard studio, and I was like, well, I got to do a good audition, nothing just like on my phone, so I had him. We went into his little studio, and I came up with this very Mark Hamill inspired read on Slappy. It was just the first thing that came out of me, right. And I got it.
So, your IMDb page is enormous. First of all, so out of everything you've done, I know what my favorite of what you've done so far is. What was your favorite film or project to be involved in as an actor or a performer?
I mean, there's so many for different reasons, but I think like on an overall level, I did a movie called Speedwagon that's on Amazon now. And it's, because it was the first time I had played a lead in a film, being number one on the call sheet, and also like it being this sort of like eccentric kind of like, sort of like a recluse, character that wasn't so connected to me in the way that it was the first time I could actually latch onto something, really dive into it and live in it for a long period of time on film, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And that was probably the one experience as an actor in film and television that really was like what I imagined film and television acting to be. It was a low budget film, independent film, so there wasn't this feeling of pressure that comes with some of the bigger stuff. And there was also a lot of trust put in me at being the lead character. So I have to say that. But I think a close second would be the Belko Experiment.
That's my favorite.
Which was that was an amazing experience from start to finish. It was as if you were playing the lead on a film because we were all there for the whole time together. So even though I wasn't shooting the whole time, we were all in Bogota together as an ensemble the whole time. And we all became like a little family there and had the time of our lives. And there were the challenges of being in a movie like that, that come with sort of the sort of psychological aspects of it that were challenging, but overall, it was just a glorious experience. I mean, that particular cast of people, unmatched, in anything I've worked on, before or since, or after rather.
Mark, you have any questions yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, you've worked with James Gunn on a few projects now.
Yeah.
I've always really, really dug James Gunn because, again, I'm a horror fan, right? He came from Trauma, right? And he seems to be one of those directors that kind of keeps the same people around a lot. So what's your experience working with him, and what have you taken any tips or sort of his experience and put it into your new movie coming out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I've never connected those dots. I've always sort of been asked about the acting aspect of it, but yeah, I mean, James and I go very, very far back to the late '90s. I was doing a play downtown with Jenna Fisher, who later went on to do The Office.
Right.
And we were playing Jonathan Harker and Mina Harker in a Commedia dell'arte version of Nosferatu, and he came to see it because he had started dating Jenna at that point. And he took a real shine to me as a performer and sort of started peppering me into little things he was doing. I sort of became a part of his friend, there was a thing called Sunset Sundays where all of that crew of people would all hang out together on Sean Gunn's house and on his balcony and hang out and talk and talk film and meet each other. It was a really cool time. And from that, he started sort of peppering me into these little short films and things that he was doing. And then the big breakthrough was a thing called PG porn. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, no. It's still out there, so you check it out. It's really funny. It was a web series that he did. It was everything you love about porn except the sex. So it was like these he had this idea to pair actors that he loved with real porn stars and have them do the scene that leads up to the actual porn, but for whatever reason you don't get to the porn. And and so
like the plumber just comes in and fixes the plumbing and goes away.
Yeah, I mean, usually they were a lot darker. It usually ended up in somebody getting killed, by a nail gun or in my case, it was fairly innocent. It was I did the only musical version of PG porn, and I was with Jenna Hayes, and we were about to. It was this very sort of Mondo, homemade version, porn thing where the camera is like following us around. I'm like, hey, baby, you want to do this? And she's like, yeah, let's do it. And then I just start singing to her, and she's completely freaked out by the fact that I'm singing. And then soon, the lyrics get so disgusting in the song that I'm singing to her that even she is grossed out by it and ends up leaving and not wanting to have sex after all.
That sounds like Jim's dream. Have a guy come in and do that to him, right, Jim?
Mark, I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
Yeah.
Jim does love the musical, so
yeah. Well, that and Mark wants me to want him for some reason, which is weird.
That's not weird at all. That's embrace it.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Yeah, it's so that was like a big, because that was a fairly large shoot, and we spent a lot of time together on that, and that sort of cemented this relationship that he and I had creatively and personally, and eventually that led to, you know, a direct offer for Belco, and then I being me, nosed my way into Guardians 2 by just bugging him and Simon, his producer at the time, about it, and just, being like, I'll do anything. I'll be an extra. I'll wear alien makeup and just stand in the background. I just want to be in that movie. And they gave me a part.
So just, is it a really different experience being on like a big MCU stage, production, compared to like just a normal film show that you've been on?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is absolutely, and that sort of parlays into your previous question about what I learned from James. Like, being on a $300 million film set, especially that one where we were in the convention center in Atlanta, and they had transformed it into the interior of the spaceship on, it was multi-leveled, and it was all encompassing. It was everywhere around you. There was no discernible end or beginning to it. You were inside of a spaceship. It was incredible. And that is, it's an unbelievable experience. And then, at the time, nobody knew Sylvester Stallone was in it, and like, you're just standing there waiting to do your scene, and all of a sudden Sylvester Stallone walks up, and like, there's something that your brain is not be able to sort of wrap around within that, which is really cool, like on a nerd level. On an actor level, it's very intimidating, especially being in a smaller part and being around a lot of big actors and on this big set. And personally, I struggle with a lot of inferiority complex and imposter syndrome and crippling insecurity and all these things that were a reason why I deviated from being an actor eventually. But that having all been said, James runs his film exactly that $300 million film the same way he ran PG Porn and Human Z and and Sparky and Michaela, like all these little tiny wonderful things that we did. It was like we were shooting it in his backyard. It was the same goofball fun, throwing things at the wall to see what sticks environment where, I'm trying to do a scene and Rooker is across, the group of Ravagers from me, like mooning me, trying to make me laugh, if it weren't for that part of me that just couldn't believe that I belonged there, it would have been a much better experience. But as a director, I directly take what I experienced working with James as my mantra on several levels as a director, which is making it feel like a safe and warm backyard film shoot. I mean, essentially that's what Shadows of Willow Cabin was anyway, but making everybody feel that they are part of the plan on a creative level, and making everybody feel like playing is okay and that opinions are okay. And also having fun, making sure that it's fun, and making sure that everybody is in on the vision. One of the things that was really cool about James, and I'm sure you've heard this, he likes to play the music on the set, so I remember my first day of shooting as a Ravager, we were all geared up with guns and we were going through this soundstage forest, and we were supposed to come down the hill, like, scouting. and he turned on the music, and the soundstage was just filled with the song. I don't know if it was this song that he actually ended up using, but I remember it being a really cool song. I can't recall what it was, but in any case, it filled the stage, and it just puts you inside the movie. Like suddenly you're like, holy shit, I'm in a movie, you know? And I, at any given moment of being a director, I want my cast and crew to feel that way. Like, holy shit, I'm making a movie. I never want them to feel like, you know, this is my job, and you know, wonder what I'm going to be doing next. You know, after we go home, maybe I'll get a beer. Man, what am I doing this weekend? You know, I love that everybody is like on the edge of their seat and wanting to be doing their best work and just psyched about being there. You know.
Were you disappointed by not being cast as Superman?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, I thought I was the perfect first choice. I mean, dye my hair and basically I'm there. But
I mean, you have the Clark Kent sort of look with the glasses right now. I mean,
thank you. Yeah.
You know, I'd just take them off. We wouldn't recognize you. So
that's right. That's right. That's why I leave them on. I want to make sure you know, your audience knows who I am.
You're a professional. Yes.
Yeah. I'm professional.
Of course. So you brought up Shadows of Willow Cabin, and that's why I reached out to you on Instagram to talk about that film. Just watching the trailer and reading the synopsis from the website, this sounds really, really interesting to me, especially being a gay man. There's some of this I can really relate to.
Yeah.
So tell us what you can without spoiling anything for the film about the storyline.
You know, the pitch of it is that it's a straight man living a straight lifestyle in a straight marriage, who begins to question his sexuality and reaches out to a gay man on a dating app and invites him to go to this cabin to explore their connection, and hiding the fact that he is a straight married man from that gay man, and you know, pretending to be what this gay man is looking for, and they go to this this cabin which belongs to his family, and they are, as their connection grows, their let's say traumas, their pasts, their ghosts begin to manifest within the space, and eventually they're trapped with them and have to figure out a way to escape.
That sounds amazing. And the trailer's phenomenal. I don't know, Mark, if you've looked it up yet.
No, I saw it. I was going to ask Joe. I don't know if you cut the trailer or who cut it.
Yeah.
But I thought they did a really good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of trailers now are either sort of really vague or more so they give away a lot of the plot, right? This one kind of was like gentle entrance, right? You know, these two people meeting, and you know, obviously, you know, the connection there, and then stuff happens, but you don't know quite what. And I like it whenever it's like, could it be supernatural? Could it be maybe in their minds? Yeah. Could it be something else, right? And I think the trailer did a really good job of kind of framing that as a question. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was like, okay, this is going to be really interesting.
Yeah. That, I mean, full props to Joel Watson, also wonderful filmmaker who did that for us. And he watched the film, he loved it, and he was like one of the first people that actually, I think he might actually been the first person outside of production to see it, and he responded to it in such a beautiful way, and understood fundamentally what I was trying to do, and that fundamental understanding translated very clearly into what he did with the trailer. It made me very nervous. I'm so glad that I didn't end up editing it, because we had long discussions about what to show, what not to show. And this is like, there's a lot of stuff that he put in there that I was like, oh, are we showing too much? But he had a really, really fantastic, clear philosophy about trailers in general, and specifically about our project. We're showing this to people without stars. We're showing this to people, initially without, whatever distribution or whatever comes next. Like, essentially, we're trying to make people attached to this thing without any circumstance that would attach them to it outside of this, just the trailer. And thus, you have to give them some meat. You have to feed them some of this, because otherwise, there's not going to be anything to pull them into it.
And that's what I'm saying. There's a balance between the vagueness
and
showing too much. And I think there's an art there of getting that balance right, which I definitely got from it. So, so can you tell us a little bit about, to me, I think, as a movie watcher, I always think the script, the writing is the most essential element. Can you tell me a little bit about how you came up with the idea? What it was like to write it out, and did you give your actors any leeway as far as improvising, coming up with their own character traits, things like that?
Yeah. Well, to start at the beginning of it, it's, for years I've been, putting together scripts to sort of go towards being what would be my directorial feature film debut, and I had a few of them. One that I was really targeting, but it was probably more in like the $2 to $3 million range. And it became very clear after, really doing the reach out and talking to a lot of colleagues who I really, really respect and who have made huge leaps and bounds in this business, that it's getting dark in here. Maybe I should turn on a light.
Ooh.
Ooh, add some light. Wow, that's terrible. That's very creepy. It's almost worse. Anyway, so essentially, I knew that I needed to make a film that was doable on a budget that I could raise, and so I had this initial idea of a sort of haunted cabin. I knew somebody who had a cabin. And I was going to do this sort of thing about a gay couple, actually, who were haunted by a homophobic ghost, and how that affected their relationship. And it started out okay, but I quickly realized that I was sort of casting I was casting the net out in a way that wasn't personal enough to me. If I was going to make a small film to shoot for very little money, it needed to be something that was connected to me personally. And, so I started to play with this idea that I had gone through in my marriage, my marriage that I'm now out of. And that was my own exploration of this, what I now know to be my bisexuality. It was me sort of reaching out desperately in the midst of alcoholism and drug abuse for this side of myself that I didn't want to face. And that manifested in going on to, a gay app and reaching out to gay men. And that was the seed of the experience that I used to launch this idea. And I thought at first, anonymously, well, this is a great little nugget of information, and I don't really have to face what it means to me personally and the ramifications of that. But as I wrote it and then filmed it and then was editing it, I realized, I'm really just telling my story here. And I think it's got to be, I've got to come to a place where I'm comfortable with saying that out loud, and that my current partner was very encouraging in that way, and saying like, you're gonna have to talk about this movie, so you're going to have to be okay with that aspect of it, and you're going to have to start to go deep with that. And so I did, and that's generally speaking the arc of how the writing went and the making of it. And then as far as a writer goes, and then when, as far as the actors are concerned, it was a really sort of crazy string of events, because the actors that I originally cast, I wrote this around a friend of mine to play, who I went to college with. He got pinned for a TV show, and then the other character, the actor playing that character, actually got a recurring role in a TV show. And so 2 weeks before we were supposed to start filming, I lost my 2 leads. Wow. And we had been rehearsing for 2 months. So everything that we had done in preparation for this it just went out the window, and I had to approach 2 new actors. And that ended up being the best thing that could have happened for myself and for this film. And that's because they had very little time to prepare what essentially is a 2-person play on film. And that forced me to allow them to personalize it in a very non-controlling way, to answer your question. Like, I was focused on getting them to a place where we could do this in 11 days, which meant, making sure that they understood the logistics of the blocking. But I had to leave a lot of the discovery to them. And sorry, go ahead.
Right, yeah. Do you think in hindsight, because these are 2 characters that don't really know each other,
yeah,
that maybe not having a lot of prep time worked in the favor of the film?
Absolutely. I mean, 100%. We fortunately set it up to shoot in sequence, starting with the days, and then so we did all days and then all nights. But essentially, it was in sequence, and a lot of the getting to know you, except for the one pivotal scene that happens at night, happened during the day. The whole opening of the movie happens during the day. The actual initial getting to know you, and so they were like, because of the nature of the 2 actors' locations. One was in New York, one was in LA. They had only rehearsed on FaceTime, and then for 1 day before we left. So they met the day before we left to shoot. They drove up together, and then essentially they found their relationship in real time as we shot it.
It almost sounds like the characters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right. It mirrored so closely the way that their relationship develops on film, that this genuine quality that I could never have planned just happened by accident. And it's probably the thing that people respond to the most out of the entire film.
I'm sure there was a point, Joe, when the actors that you had picked, when they had to drop out, that you were like probably super stressed out. Did you ever think, I know you say you want to kind of move behind the camera. Did you ever think to yourself, well, maybe I'll take one of the roles?
Yeah, I mean, it was bantered around, especially my EP, who also, was fully financed this project. Mike Kelly is my best friend for 47 years. We've known each other since we were 3 years old, and wow. And he was, when I was up against the wall of wanting to do this with my life, and decided to make this film in order to facilitate that move in my life, he was right there and said, "I'll do it." Wow. And when this all started to shake down, of course, one of the things he said to me was, you could play this role. And I mean, he's not wrong. There's a couple of physical aspects of it that weren't right, that would have had to been rewritten. One of the biggest dynamics about these two men that plays into their chemistry is one of them. The gay man is incredibly beautiful and almost an idyllic sense of what you would think of, almost like that's why he was chosen by the confused, who later you find out is homosexual or bi as well. But you know, he chooses this sort of like poster child, for lack of a better term, you know, version of a man, you know, because he thinks that's what that's what this is. That's like, it's very surface level for him to start. And on the opposite end of that, this very beautiful man who is looking for that, exactly that person, who is the frumpy, closeted man in a straight marriage who is just looking for a pretty boy to have sex with. That's the safety that he's looking for, that he seeks out exactly what the character of Albert is, because it's so incredibly safe for him. So that physical dynamic was written into the script, and ended up being, these two actors ended up being perfect in that sensibility. For me, it wouldn't have, you know, it would have been had to have been adjusted, and I don't think it would have been as effective, you know.
So personally, when I saw the trailer, I could relate to Albert so much because, and I think a lot of people in my age group can, because we all were married before we were able to come out or get comfortable enough with ourselves to admit to our sexuality. And I haven't seen the film yet, so I don't know if it's psychological, if it's a real haunting or whatever. But you know, we all face that internal struggle, and like you were mentioning with your own, so what I'm looking for, your own awakening, right?
Yeah.
That's what drew me into the trailer when I was watching it. It's like, I can actually relate to this. This is rooted in reality for me, and I can relate to the characters in this film because I've been through this experience in one form or another.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I want to address that, but I want to do this for you guys real quick, because this is driving me crazy, and I know it's probably driving everyone else crazy. I'm just gonna turn the light up a little bit. Sorry, I can't.
Joe was beating Joe was beating the lighting crew behind the screens. What are you doing,
guys? More bounce on the light.
Look at all the light, dude.
I've got nothing on the top of my head, guys. Come on. But yeah, so it was super important to me to make both sides of this relatable. Mm-hmm. Like, of course, I think Albert is the truest part of myself being told. So for me, that was fairly easy to make happen on a script level. I had to do a lot of discussions with gay friends of mine who I wanted to learn, not necessarily about, you know, being gay. It wasn't about that. It was about what were the struggles of figuring out how that is going to be a thing that you then put into the world. How did it affect your family? How did it affect the battles that you face, you know, with the traumas that you have, like all of these aspects. I didn't want it to be a sketch of a gay man. I wanted it to be a three-dimensional, complicated person who happened to be gay, you know. And the fact that John happened to be such a gifted actor, but also so beautiful, was it allowed for that. Now there was another aspect, and I haven't really mentioned this before in a couple of different interviews I've done, and so this is the first time I've actually mentioned it in an interview, and I really want to be to to be clear about this, there was an actor attached to this film playing the role of Devin, who is the gay character. I'm not going to mention his name just because we haven't really talked since he got the TV show, and I'm not sure how comfortable he is with people knowing that he was a part of it. I'm sure he'd be fine, but just to be safe, I'm not going to mention who he is. But when we were prepping, he came to me and he said, "Hey, can we have breakfast?" And I thought, "Oh, okay, great. We're going to talk, script changes. We're going to talk, dialogue stuff." And he's like, as a side job, I do queer dramaturgy for screenwriters and playwrights. So I help screenwriters and playwrights develop queer themes, and make them accessible and relatable and most importantly, real, for lack of a better term, like something that somebody who's gay would actually want to say, you know? And I was like, oh shit, give it to me. And it had a lot to do with a part of the film that obviously we can't discuss because it's a big reveal, but in essence, it had to do with a dynamic of the relationship that made the gay man make a decision about this man who was questioning his sexuality and most likely was either gay or bisexual. And it's a big decision that he had to make, and it was a pivotal decision. And in the original script, it was made from the perspective of a man who was hiding and didn't understand that aspect of things at that time.
What just happened?
Wow.
Yeah.
You just had an explosion behind you, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We just had fireworks behind you. That was,
wow.
It was exclusive. The hard
right?
exclusive.
I have no idea what that was. I've never seen it before.
Somebody's listening. They just added gravity to it.
Apparently.
He's
That's hilarious. I have no idea.
CGI guys there too. So
Again, I've got my whole pyro team here too. So
I mean, that was going to be my next question too. Is like we know how you wrote the one character, but that was And I ask this of a lot of different filmmakers. Right? You can write the characters you can relate to, but what is your process for understanding the characters that maybe you're not as close to or you can't exactly relate to?
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, inauthenticity is a killer, and I don't care if you're making, a slasher film or a family drama. Like it,
right?
Yeah, it's like if you're writing a character, for instance, like in the script I'm trying to produce now, there's a deaf waitress character, right? And like there's so many aspects to that I don't understand. Being a woman in a service position in the 80s, which is when it takes place. Being a woman with a handicap in a service position in the 80s, in a culture where that handicap is not accepted. Like these are all things that I, as a writer, I do my due diligence by either speaking to people that have a similar circumstance going on. I'm very lucky that my partner is a women's studies major. A lot of the psychology behind the script I'm talking about right now and Shadows of Willow Cabin came from very deep discussions with her regarding, just how people would express themselves and how they would and what they would hide, more importantly. Mm-hmm. And so for me as a writer, I like to put the whole thing out into the universe first, for Shadows of Willow Cabin, it was a big board of Post-it notes that where each character was a different color of paper, and then I can track their line of involvement in the actual dramatic arc of the piece by where their color is showing up. And that, for me, the visualization of how they're involved in the storytelling helps me to craft a realistic beginning, middle, and end, just on a very basic level. And then I go back in and I start to fill out like my brain works like a puzzle solving brain. So essentially, if there's something shallow or something missing or something two-dimensional, I'll locate that. I'll research it. I'll come up with a solve to it in a sort of general sense, and then I'll use that solve to figure out a cool puzzle piece to insert into the script. And usually it ends up really working out well for me because it ends up being something that enrichens. Is that a word?
Sure, that works for me.
Yes, enriches. Here's me speaking about being a writer, and enriches the actual story itself. And I love that aspect of writing. And to your point, I love that aspect of exploring characters that aren't close to me, because they end up making my stories so much deeper than I originally intended.
Joe, you just got a thumbs down apparently floating.
Yeah, I don't know. There's all kinds of weird icons popping up on your screen, and I have no idea where they're coming from.
Maybe you're haunted. I don't know.
I did want to mention, though, if anybody's watching on TikTok, unfortunately, Restream does not show us the comments, so I cannot respond, but we will. I will respond after the live. Anyway.
All right. Is it somebody? Maybe somebody's commenting with emojis. I don't know.
It's entirely possible, or they could be sending you gifts, though I don't recall seeing a thumbs down gift.
Oh.
So,
no.
Who knows?
Well, Jim would have them like every other word. So.
Yeah. At least.
Well, just to address the thumbs down, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure what it was related to, but he's sorry. So Mark has heard this from me many, many times, and my issue with a lot of queer literature, queer cinema, is a lot of the representation doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah.
It just feels like a bunch of stereotypes thrown into a blender and made into some sort of facsimile of someone's experience, right?
Yeah.
But nothing too specific. Whereas this one specifically, the reason it caught my attention, like I mentioned, is because I can identify with the experience of the man who is exploring his sexuality and trying to come to terms with what it means for him. Yeah. So that's why I'm so excited about this film. I cannot wait to be able to watch this film. When can we watch this film?
The easy answer is
it's okay if you can't answer now.
Yeah, I think you can actually, I believe, actually, I know for sure that you can actually watch it currently at Shockfest, which is an online film festival.
Okay.
And I believe the way that Shockfest works is that you buy a Shockfest pass, which is very affordable. I think it's $20 or something. And they give you access to all of their films.
Okay.
And I think that they're on demand basically for a month.
Okay.
And so I think you can watch it currently there.
Stop tomorrow is going to be.
Yeah, and it's keep in mind it's because it's an online festival, it's not the way the film was intended to be watched. Obviously, it's
sure.
It's a compressed version of the film, and it's not so you're not going to get sort of the visual impact you would even on your big screen TV, let alone a movie theater. But that having been said, we are in just discussions currently with a company we're really excited about for distribution. And if that all works out, it'll be available, first quarter next year. So
you will have to keep me posted.
At 100%, I will.
Especially when the physical release happens, because
Yeah.
I love physical media.
Yes, and that's definitely something that we want to make a part of this. I mean, I love physical media too, and it's such a formative part of the world that I grew up in.
So Joe, we've kind of talked a lot kind of about the writing aspects, the characters. Can you give us your insights about directing it? I mean, did you have an idea about how to frame certain scenes, or as it went along, did you kind of adapt to kind of what you wanted to see at that time?
Well, I knew that we had very little time on set. We knew we had 11 days in this cabin, and that was all we were going to get. There was no reshoots. There's nothing. So I had to be as prepared as I possibly could. Also, like being a first-time feature director, there's a little bit of this sort of nerding out that happens where, like, I immediately started visualizing the whole movie, and I'm already a very visual writer in my screenplays, but like I was already like doing deep dive research into films that were inspiring shot choice, and then the DP and I actually went to the cabin. We 3D scanned the whole cabin, so we had a 3D model, and then from that 3D model I started coming up with a very detailed shot list and setup list.
So did you do like a storyboard for it?
Not storyboards. I used a software that has like overhead mapping, so I would map camera movement and blocking, and storyboarding wise, I had such a clear vision in my brain of like what I wanted. I didn't think it was necessary. And also the DP and I spent a lot of time discussing what we actually wanted it to look like and the style we wanted to be presenting, and the different styles of the different styles we wanted to portray, whether it be a stationary look or a dolly look, handheld look, what lenses we wanted to use. We went through that. But we left enough on the table to improvise if we needed to. And that was huge. That was key. And we both knew from previous experience that planning it to a T would be a mistake. So, we had this very clear setup and to go directly to the other part of your question, there was the adjusting that we had to do. For instance, a lot of the crew and one of the actors were living in the cabin we shot in. So in order to shoot certain rooms, we had to keep moving all of everybody's shit from behind the camera all around the cabin. And that was very time consuming and frustrating, and things were getting lost. And so quickly in a day or two, we learned that, we had to shoot one room at a time, as opposed to what I had, which was more moving around in order of the scenes.
So then that adds like the continuity issue, right? So you have to make sure that everything fits right and nothing stands out.
Yeah.
So what are kind of your lessons learned from kind of your first directorial shoot?
I mean, the biggest lesson I learned is that, I mean, on a director's level, it's what a director really is on a feature set. Like I learned very quickly that as much as I prepared and much as I envisioned as being the visionary of this whole thing, the practical part of shooting a film is being a good captain of the ship. And being a good captain of the ship is hearing what everybody's saying and adjusting accordingly. We had 7 people and I didn't want to establish a hierarchy because I knew that everybody was important and everybody was smart and talented, and a lot of people were going to have better ideas than me. But more importantly, I didn't want anyone to feel like they didn't want to be there and that they weren't excited about it. And so there was this balance of making sure that things were directed, efficiently, that they got done, because I didn't have an AD. I was my own AD. And so that was that's part that I've, for next time, we'll definitely have an AD, because it's hard to be the good guy and the bad guy at the same time. And the other thing is, like, just be a friend and be compassionate and hear what people are saying. And I'm not just talking about the actors. Actors are very sensitive, and you have to be there for them, and you have to adjust to that, and you have to adjust to what they need in any given moment. But that's not just actors. That's everybody. Everybody is emotional on a set. Everybody gets burnt out. Everybody gets frustrated. Everybody gets crazy,
So you're saying you're more of a James Gunn than a Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
I think so. And that comes from me being an actor for so long. And I think that's my superpower, is I'm a good leader like that. And I learned that I can lean into that. And it's going to benefit me on the next one. And it's going to benefit me when I have actual departments and actual department heads, and I'm not doing everything, and I'm having to communicate to a lot of captains that what the vision is, and keep everybody excited about it. And I think I'm going to be pretty adept at that.
So what do you see as success for this movie, as far as reception, as far as reviews, as far as financially?
I mean, I've already exceeded any level of success I thought I was going to have with this movie. I mean, to be honest with you, we set out to do this. It was a profit share model. And the idea behind it was, we raised this small budget. We all make $100 a day on set. The actors they had a SAG contract for micro budget, so that the understanding was, if we were ever to make money, we would upgrade them to ultra low, and we would be able to get them their benefits and everything. And then everybody else, would benefit from any sort of revenue that we would make. And that was sort of that was everybody understanding that, hey, we're probably not going to make any money. Let's just go have a good time and make a movie. But what ended up happening is we made something really good. And I think that exceeded everybody's expectations. I mean, everybody. We ended up all sitting in the movie theater during our world premiere and going, holy shit, like, this is really good. And it's really beautiful, and it's really heartfelt, and it's really scary, and it's really well done from everybody's job on the film. And we really have something here. And that was the next level of success, that I could have gone away and on to the other things in my life and been okay with that. But now there's a whole other level of success happening, which is having a really amazing company who believes in the film and wants it to be out in the world.
That's awesome.
So,
and for your own measure of, like, sort of happiness and satisfaction, there's a lot to be an actor, right, and be in a great film and do a great job. But I have a feeling being a director has, like, a separate type of satisfaction of watching that finished film and knowing it's kind of yours. I know it's an ensemble, but you're the one kind of orchestrating everything, and especially
directing, if you will.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 So
yeah.
I'm curious, why did you make your first film horror? Are you a big horror fan?
Yeah. I mean, all of my scripts are horror. I am a huge horror fan. It's, it was my first, talking about physical media, when I was a kid, I went to the video store very early on when there were the very beginnings of video stores. I think it might have been even like beta tapes at the time. Yeah.
I remember
And,
beta.
yeah. And I never forget it. It was this tiny little store. My dad, he had rented the machine and he rented the machine and the film at the store. Yeah. And I'll never forget it. Like, I can't remember. I think the first thing we rented was like, it might have been Tron or something along those lines. But what I won't ever forget is the first movie box I saw. I have it. I can't even remember how old I was. It must have been like 10 or 11, maybe even younger, 9. I don't remember. But like, I remember the wall with the slats and the little plastic shelves and the boxes that had the art on them of the movie,
right.
the movies. And right at my eye level as a kid was Leatherface silhouetted against the Texas sky, like swinging a chainsaw above his head. And my life changed in that minute. I was like, what is that? Like, what is that? That right. Looks like I'm at the same time completely petrified and can't move, and also unbelievably curious. And I just want to be inside of whatever that is, And so as soon as I possibly could, which was a few years later, I was a latchkey kid. My dad lived out of state. My mom was a working mom, was gone a lot. She handed over the keys to the castle, so to speak, with giving me the video rental card. And one of the first things I did was I just got all of the Friday the 13th up until that point all at the same time and watched them back to back. And I spent like the next like 2 nights huddled in the corner of my bedroom with like a curtain rod, afraid that Jason was going to pop out and kill me. But like, it was the most, that was the most formative, like cinematic experience of my entire life was that.
I think for people of our age, right? That's such a similar experience.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember doing that too. I remember going down, and kids growing up nowadays won't ever get that, right?
Yeah.
Going in and seeing all these crazy like covers of all these VHS ones and just being, now the movie might have been terrible.
Yeah.
But that cover would stick with you.
Yeah.
And you might watch it years later and be, oh, that was great. Or, that cover really like sold it, and it wasn't anything like that. But, Jim?
30 years from now, it's going to be, you're not going to believe what I clicked on.
It's going to be TikTok. You can't believe what I saw on TikTok.
Yeah, and there's a culture. There's a culture of physical media, like growing again, and like yes, it's pretty small and it's very sort of selective, but it's there, and even if it's just like a little like tiny group of people that carry on that torch, at least it's being carried on, and like the next movie that I'm working on making is sort of a love letter in a way to everything I just told you, from Jason to VHS tapes. And and I want that film to be released on VHS. I want, that's like a dream of mine, is to have that movie on VHS in a slide out box with my art on it,
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if like VHS became hip again, kind of like record players, right?
Yeah.
People are buying records again, and whoever thought about that after MP3s, right? So, things sometimes come back around, and it's the kids get into it more than even kind of people that are nostalgic about it. So,
right,
we'll see.
So, you mentioned your next project. Can you tell us anything about it?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you. I can just give you the light pitch on it. It's it's sort of a parallel universe to Jason Voorhees. I've obviously, from what I told you, I've always been obsessed with that character, and like I'm more obsessed than anything else about the sort of trauma creating a monster. Like, to me, that's like the most interesting part of Jason. Well, I mean, really any great, monster character that's born of trauma, Frankenstein or whatever. To me, it's so relatable, even though you're watching a slasher. It's like underneath the hockey mask, there's a history that warranted the hockey mask. To me, that's like a fascinating idea. And so this is like a parallel universe where a Jason-like slasher decides that he is disenchanted with killing and wants to lead a normal life and get a job and fall in love and do all the things that normal people do.
Jason goes to work.
Yeah.
Jason gets on the bus, goes to work, and has a normal life.
Exactly. So it's this sort of like magical realism, couched in a slasher horror movie, and So
I don't mean to
sounds like fun.
Your idea, but in my head when you said that, it would be like Jason's just living a normal life, but he accidentally starts killing people and he doesn't mean it.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Tucker and Dale, but Jason.
Well, you're not far from one of the big plot points of the film.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. It takes place in the 80s, so there's there's a lot of reference to what's going on politically at the time, and but I'll leave it at that. I don't want to give away too much, but it comes into play in a way that's related to what you just said.
Nice. That sounds like a lot of fun. Is it going to be a horror comedy, or are you going to play it straight?
Well, I mean, its essence is dramatic. It's going to be played very close to the vest. Situationally, it's very funny, and there are the villain in the piece is very mustache twirly. So, and spoiler alert, it's not the Jason Voorhees character. So
it's his boss.
You could just see Dick Dastardly and Muttley.
It's his boss that keeps him at work. Jason, where do you think you're going? You have those reports to file.
Imagine the villain's very much. Imagine if Elon Musk were alive in the 80s and had a mustache he could twirl. That's very much.
Sorry, now in my head,
I'm terrified already.
All I'm thinking about is like Jason in the 80s in an office, and he accidentally bumps somebody into like the shredding machine or something.
Jason Takes on Wall Street.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you're not far from the. To me, it's like it is funny. It's like there's a lot of funny aspects to it, but it, like one of the most interesting meditations I had about this story is like, is it possible to not be a monster if you're a monster? Like, even if you do everything right, to your point, like, is it just going to happen anyway? That's, to me, that's a really interesting point. It's like, nature over nurture. Like, what?
Yeah.
If you're
Jason
born to be a monster,
therapy.
What's that?
Jason goes to therapy.
Jason goes to therapy. Oh my! You're giving me some.
And he's just going to sit there.
Yeah, these are great sequel ideas. I mean,
I don't need any money. I don't need any money. Just put my name somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
So what's troubling you, Jason? Just silence.
Yeah, exactly.
You really need to let it out. Just silence.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds great.
I should move to Hollywood, Jim, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, you're already a Scientologist, right?
No.
That's the first big step.
Exactly.
Like I say, I live in Clearwater.
That's a funny story, but Anyway, that's a story for another time. But Mark actually has a funny Scientology story.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, well,
He
move to LA.
got me with that one.
If you move to LA, you'll have plenty of funny Scientology stories.
Well, Clearwater, where I live, is like their head, right?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. No, now it's like.
So the funny story Jim is probably talking about is that we bought our house, and the person that we bought it from was a Scientologist. I don't know if they still are, but we get like mailings from the Church of Scientology all the time, and they're like, different things going on and whatever. So Jim came around one time, and I handed this to him, and I said, "I'm glad you're here because I wanted to talk to you about this, because we really feel that you could enlighten yourself if you come to the Church of Scientology with this." And for a minute, he was like, thinking about it, right?
No, not thinking.
You have to work those thetans out.
Yeah, I just have to think about how I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. Anyway.
Oh, like you've ever had any trouble about that?
Hey,
no, not really. But I don't want to insult your religion.
Well, yeah, but if it makes you feel better, Jim, like every actor in Hollywood goes to that point of like, should I? I mean, I'm like a waiter. Things aren't going very well. Should I?
Yeah, it's like networking, right?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. Mark, what else do you got for today?
No, Joe. I mean, I don't know if you want to give us again, like how people can reach out, contact you, find the movie, follow you on all the Instagrams and all the things that the kids do nowadays. Just promote yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, I mean, my handle on Instagram is joe.fria. The film's Instagram is Shadows of Willow Cabin. All one thing. And you can feel free on either of those because I run both. Obviously my own, but I run Shadows Instagram as well. Feel free to reach out. Obviously you guys did, and
yep.
I always respond. It's important to me to have conversations about this film, like right. And Jim, if or either of you, when you get a chance to see it, if you want to have further discussion about it, I'm completely open to that.
100%, I can guarantee I'm going to reach out about that after I see it. 100%.
I would love that. And for me, this film is about conversation, and so I'm happy to have them for anybody who reaches out to me, and so that's an open invitation. Message me if you want to, if you want it. And even if you just are struggling, I'm happy to be an ear to that, because Lord knows I know what that's like. Yeah. So, so that's where you can find me. Shadows of Willow Cabin .com is our website, and that has the trailer, and it has the reviews so far, and all the bios of the team, and what else? Shockfest. I should really pimp Shockfest. It's a very strange thing being in a virtual film festival, because like it's like sort of hard to know because you're not there, like what's going on, and
right.
But it's happening right now. Shockfest. You can go to their website and you can get in there and find our movie. And if you go and you watch it there, please vote for us for the audience award if you like the movie, because that could lead to us going to their actual physical festival, which will be in Las Vegas, which is what we really would want to do.
Are you thinking about putting it into any other actual film festivals, like not the virtual ones, but?
Yeah, I mean, this is the only virtual one, and the reason that we went with it, like, generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of virtual festivals. It's like just a personal thing. For me, festivals are more about, I mean, as much as I think that virtual festivals are great for building community, and like I definitely I'm big on that. But like for me, I love being face to face with people. At festivals, I love having these discussions in person, and for me, like, festivals are going to be one of the only opportunities with this film that gets to happen. So like we are out to a bunch of other festivals so far. We've done CineQuest. We've done a small version of the Big Bear Film Festival, which was just a preview. The big Bear Film Festival is in March of next year, so we are going to be in that lineup, and that's going to be a 5-day huge festival. So we're looking forward to that, and then hopefully something else comes along, between now and then, and if not, we've had a great experience so far, and
I might have a recommendation for after then.
Okay.
So I actually what was it, 2 weekends ago, I went to Virginia for I don't know if you're familiar with the organization Scares That Care.
Oh yeah.
They put on their first LGBTQIA weekend. It was called Killer Pride, and they do a film festival there also.
Oh, okay.
And they just announced that they're doing it again next year in September.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. Killer Pride, you said?
Yep, I will send you contact information.
Yeah, send it to me. Killer Pride. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
absolutely.
No, I love that. Yeah, thank you.
It was an amazing event. It was inclusive, it was safe, and it was a freaking blast. We had so much fun.
Well, I would love to do that. Unfortunately, the way that the festivals line up is that when we started doing festivals, we were actually at the tail end. There's like a run where all the LGBTQ festivals happen.
Yep.
And we had missed all of them. And thankfully, Cinepride, who I got to give a shout out to, because they were phenomenal. I mean, talk about a beautiful, inclusive festival. It was so wonderful. And it was the perfect place for our world premiere. And I would, in a heartbeat, love to be in another LGBTQ festival. Obviously, that's the family it was made for.
Sure.
But also, I just in full selfishness, being recently out as bisexual and being warmly accepted into a community I didn't realize I always wanted to be in. It's like a feeling like nothing I've ever felt, being in that community, being celebrated by that community, and getting to have conversations with people in that community. So yeah, 100%.
And hopefully at some point there is a festival or convention in Florida that you're invited to or you come to, and then we can.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
We're both in Florida, by the way.
Oh, you're both in Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on separate coasts.
We submitted to some in Florida, not naming any names. We weren't accepted, but
damn it.
Yeah, I know. There's one big one. Genre Fest that was really disappointing, but that's okay. I mean, like Shadows, it doesn't have anybody, famous in it. It's an hour, it's 114 minutes, which for a lot of festivals is very hard to program. So, and so I get it. And people who watch it, man, like the response that comes back at me, the thank yous, the love, the feeling of being seen, the terror, all of that stuff is so much more important than getting into a festival, So, as much as I hope to be in Florida,
just want to go hang out,
just to hang out.
Yeah.
But I tell you this, I know that the next one I'm making is perfect for that festival that I'm referring to in Florida. So fingers crossed on the next one.
That sounds
And
awesome.
I'll give you guys an exclusive interview when that happens.
There'll be fireworks behind you.
Yeah.
Fireworks.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, Joe, I do want to say thank you for being so responsive after I messaged you on Instagram just out of the blue.
Yeah.
and B, for being so easy to talk to. This has been a great conversation, and I'm so excited for your film that I honestly can't wait.
Oh, thank you. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Please reach out when you see it.
I absolutely will. Mark?
You probably don't want to hear from Jim. He's not,
I'm
doesn't
very
get the
hard.
best reviews I've ever seen.
I am very hard on.
Well, I'll give you an honest, good review. I'm sure.
Generally, I will not badmouth a film if I don't like it, especially an independent film. Like I won't talk bad about it in public. I'll have private conversations about it, but I have no problem speaking to a filmmaker and saying, "Hey, this is what I had trouble with," or "This is where I had an issue," but I'm not gonna, blast it out on social media about how crappy it was or whatever, because especially with independent films, negative commentary can make or break a film, especially micro budget, or low budget.
And everybody's hanging on Jim's word.
Every single word.
Listen, it's like, we know we're proud of what we did, and we know that we did something good, but there are aspects of it that are controversial, and that's for me as a filmmaker, that's what I want. I don't want to make something everybody's like, cheering about. Like, I made decisions that are going to have to be talked about, and that's
of course,
to me, that's the ultimate compliment, that people walk away and go, now, but what about that thing? Like, and like, so, because it means you're invested. You're still talking about it.
Art should be provocative, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
But provocative doesn't necessarily mean you hate every minute of it.
No.
Right? It gets you thinking, it gets you engaged.
And I love your point of view is so fantastic, because like that sort of vitriol and that sort of negativity, it's not necessary anyway. I mean, I'll give you a really quick example. I mean, I also direct voiceover. That's my main job. I do, dubs, and I do animation and stuff like that. And I'm recently, I've been working on a show called The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity on Netflix.
Okay.
It's an anime, and it was a big manga. It was, it was very, very, very popular, and it was a very highly anticipated anime. And when it came out, I made a lot of creative decisions that were very much on my brand in the way that I wanted this to be seen. But it rubbed some people wrong, and they immediately went onto Reddit and started blasting my actors, the people who I gave jobs to do this thing, and particularly the lead actor. And like, I ended up having to talk that person off of a bridge, like, and that's not fair, and it's not right. If you have criticisms, that's fine. You can come to me and you can say them straight to me. I'm very easily findable on social media. But to attack somebody that's doing the best job they can with a huge opportunity that I gave them is not right. It's just not right. Not fair.
I mean, like the internet and social media has made everybody, or well, not everybody, a lot of people very polarized.
Yeah.
It's like a 10 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
They can't explain it. They'll just say this is a 10 out of 10.
But there's also this culture of like being the first to say something shitty.
Yeah.
Because,
well, it's also trolling, right? I mean, people
trolling.
get attention for it.
Yeah. But
so they'll be like, "Oh, this stinks," whatever.
What
like,
happens?
I don't mind. Like, there's everything's subjective. There's
I mean,
I like and I don't like, and I'll say if I like them or don't like them, but I'll say why.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I'm out there hating somebody because of a movie or like people like it. I can only imagine what it's going to be like in like 50 years if we last that long.
I'm just glad I'll be dead.
Yeah. I mean, I was just at the Big Bear Film Festival, and his name is going to escape me. The director of Jason Goes to Hell, Adam.
Mark.
Jason Goes to Hell, Adam. His last name is totally escaping me.
Mark.
Yes.
You're better at this stuff than I am.
Jason Goes to Hell. I know who you're talking
Adam
about.
Marcus.
Thanks.
Adam Marcus.
Yep.
Adam Marcus. We were doing a talk back, and he was talking about the hate that he got for Jason Goes to Hell. And it came when the internet got popular. It wasn't when the film was made. It was like when people started being able to do this. And people started like direct messaging him like really, really awful things. Like, I hope you get cancer and shit like that. And for ruining the Friday the 13th franchise. And he said something really brilliant. You know, he started, you know, using the call function on Facebook direct messaging to call them back right away after they would say something like that and be like, hey, this is Adam Marcus. Like, what's going on? Because I made a movie that you obviously have some issues with, and then you wished me cancer. Like, I figure that there's probably something deeper going on in your life. Do you want to talk about it? And they would end up crying to him about some shitty thing that's happening in their life, you know? And anyway, that's all to say, you know, the culture of negativity.
I have a story real quick. I know we're past our time, but I think it's important. So back in the day, I used to go on to IMDb. Remember they used to have message boards?
Yeah.
Like specific message boards. So I was on the horror message board a lot, right? And I used to write reviews and stuff on IMDb. I wrote a review for a movie called Live Feed, which is a horror movie by Ryan Nicholson. I don't know if you know who he is or was. Unfortunately, he passed away. But I just wrote a review on IMDb, and it was a middling review. I said, you know, I like this aspect of it. I didn't like that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought it was, you know, it was a little tame, you know, for what it was supposed to be. But overall, you know, it's a small budget movie. So the director, Ryan Nicholson, he reached out to me on IMDb and he said, you know what, I really appreciate, you know, kind of what you said there. And he asked me, hey, where did you get the movie from? I said it was Blockbuster. And he said, well, they only have like the R-rated, or, you know, they have a cut version. So he turned around without me asking him anything. And again, this was, you know, 15 years ago. And he said, you know what, I'll send you out free of charge the uncut version.
Wow.
And he sent it out and he signed it. And actually, I have this here where he signed it for. Unfortunately, he passed away a number of years ago, but he made Gutter Balls and a number of kind of, you know, splattery independent horror movies.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's where, you know, a director understands that somebody watches movies with the best of intentions. They have some criticisms. The criticisms were basically it was a little tame, and he's like, yeah, you know, well, you watched the cut version, so here's the uncut version. Like, unbelievable.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, all that to say that, you know, there's criticism and then there's negativity, and I'm open. I'm open to criticism, 100%. Yeah.
And some things I love, people hate, and vice versa. And the same with you, same with everyone.
Yeah.
And we all have our own tastes, and we all have, hey, there's problems, but I'll overlook it because I like the general thing. Or there's some things where it just picks at you, and you just say, you know, but I mean, it's not personal. It's never personal.
That's right.
It's like looking at a painting and saying, I like this painting for this reason, and somebody goes, I don't like this painting for this reason. Okay, well, neither of us are right or wrong.
Right.
But you don't call up the artist and start yelling at them. Exactly.
I agree.
It's only going to get worse. That's what I'm going to say. So,
unfortunately.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox.
Too late. I mean, it's the only way you're 6 foot tall, right?
That's what your mom says.
My mother's taller than you, Mark.
No, she said 6 foot long.
Oh.
No.
See what he did there?
Yo mama jokes. Yeah, I get it. But anyway, Joe, regardless of Mark's crass humor, I did want to say thank you very much for this conversation. I've really appreciated it. And I absolutely do want to have you back on after I've had a chance to see the film, because I am so excited to see this film, because it's the first horror movie where I feel like I can relate in any meaningful way to any of the characters.
Well, let me do this. Just shoot me your guys both of the emails on Instagram Messenger.
Sure.
And I'll just email you guys screeners, and that way you can just watch it at home.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. And then after we get a chance to watch it, we'll just set something up because I definitely am going to have things I want to talk about. I guarantee.
I love that. I'm totally down with that.
That'll be great. Mark?
Fantastic, Joe. What a pleasure. Thank you so much. Absolute legend.
Absolutely. Thanks, Joe, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.